Morning, everyone. Uh, this morning, we quickly want to talk about the challenges to food security in Liberia. Uh, we will begin this presentation by starting with food policies and governance. Food policies and governance is one of the major factors when it comes to designing or enhancing food security. You cannot talk much about food security without measuring, without having an effective uh, policies and governance system into place. So in the case of Liberia, we want to look at some of the challenges that affect uh, food security in Liberia. These challenges cannot easily be addressed without developing a comprehensive food policies and governance. According to the World Food Program 2019, it says that several challenges and gaps to achieving food security have been identified. These challenges include, but are not limited to, the following: weak institutional capacity, limited government capacity for emergency preparedness and response, low public sector resource flow, creeping infrastructure deficit, limited public awareness of good food security and nutrition practices, inadequate policy coherence and multi-sectoral coordination, limited food production focus and large-use agricultural modernization, poor climate for private sector investment, and poor receptions of agriculture in wealth creation. These are some of the challenges that affect the enhancement of food security in Liberia. And as I said earlier in my previous statement, you cannot address these challenges if you don't have a better food policies and governance systems into place. So it's important that we flag up some of these challenges so that policymakers in the business of developing uh, policies geared towards food security will consider these factors and take them into consideration. Um, Another one is the uh, Liberian Agriculture Southern Investment Program, LICSE 2010. LICSE also outlined a couple of challenges affecting Liberia food security, as weak land management, water control system, limited market access in leakages on account of limited feeder rules and by secondary road conditions, non-diversifications and rudimentary production technique, pre and post-harvest losses, poor food chain, uh, poor food value chain, including storage, processing and marketing channels, unimproved planting materials, limited use of fertilizers and rudimentary tools, practices, uh, lack of formal agricultural credit, insufficient farming households, labor, poor pest management, low quality agriculture screening and extension services, low capacities of core agricultural institutions. This is 2010, page 14 to 15. Outline, in addition to the World Food Program, numerous challenges when it comes to uh, the issue of food security, when it comes to the enhancement and the promotion of food security in Liberia. Again, I want to strike that in order to reduce or to minimize these challenges, there is a need for an effective policies and governing to place that will enhance food security. In addition to these challenges, the Liberian agricultural sector is also vulnerable to various agri-ecological constraints. Just to name a few, climate change impacts such as heightening flooding, drugs, and soil degradation. This vulnerability has been further amplified by deforestation and unsustainable land use practices, according to Insights Liberia 2021. These are some of the factors that also affect or affecting the Liberia agroecological system. So it's also important to strike up this point so that policy maker and policy developers will consider all of these factors so as to know how to mitigate, how to draw and to draft and import a very important policies that will affect the larger framework of food security in Liberia. Another area we want to look at when you talk about food security is food access and affordability. According to the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights 2010, the right to food is recognized in the 1948 Universal Declaration as part of the right to an adequate standard of living. Unfortunately, in Liberia, this declaration, despite of these declarations, many Liberian households continue to struggle in terms of reliable access to food. So it is essential to examine these factors that influence food access for different groups within the population. And the Liberian Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services usually conduct household income expenditure when it comes to population. And the leaders serve as the valuable resource to understand the dynamics of food access and affordability in this country because uh, they are charged with the responsibility of conducting different surveys of different kinds, including statistics, census, and different household survey. So according to Leaders 2017, one of the factors that influence food access is income disparity among different segments of the population. So it says that low-income households, particularly in rural areas, often struggle to afford adequate diet due to limited financial resources, Leaders 2027. And another area we want to quickly look at has to do with population dynamics and demographic factors. Population dynamic and demographic factors is another area to look at when talking about food security, because understanding the population dynamics and geographic factors, not only in Liberia, but in any part of the world, is crucial for addressing food security challenges, as the size and compositions of the population directly impact food demand and supply. So the World Meter talks about the populations of Liberia from 1950 to 2023. So you will see the bar here that there has been an incremental increase within the Liberian population. This is just, I guess, a sample that the World Meter tried to portray. So if you look at 1999 to 2020 and then 2021 to 2022, you see the trends of uh, population's growth, which uh, which raised from 2.05 to 2.08, and then eventually in 2021 to 2.01, let's say 2.1, and then in 2022, we have a growth of 2.18%. So that tells us that the Liberian population is on a rampant, it's on an incremental growth in populations. So when we are discussing food security, we also need to take into consideration the population dynamics and the geographic factors, because it's on the basis of this that the balance should be struck, so that the more the population increases, the more food production. But in any case, in a livelihood where populations is increasing and there's no production, our productions in food, obviously that will lead to food insecurity. That will absolutely lead to food insecurity. Uh, we also want to look at some of the current local initiatives and sources of food security in Liberia. According to Insights Liberia 2021, the government of Liberia has launched several initiatives in promoting food agricultural development, including the smallholder agricultural productivity enhancement and commercialization STIPA projects. The project designed to enhance the productivity and income of small-scale farmers. Insights Liberia also highlight that SIPA objective is to uplift rural communities, contribute to overall economic growth, and involves a range of interventions. Among these interventions include providing small-scale farmers with improved seeds, fertilizers, and essential input to amplify crops yield. Moreover, the project offers training and technique support to farmers, covering pest control and sustainable practices, thereby optimizing production. The project also facilitates market linkages, enabling farmers to sell their produce at equitable prices. Furthermore, it focuses on value chain development, which involves enhancing the entire agricultural value chain from processing to marketing to ensure maximum benefit for farmers at all stages. Insights Liberia also underscores SIPA's role in providing credit and financial services to enable farmers to invest in their operations and enhance agricultural practices. Insight further revealed the National Agricultural Investment Plan, which serves as a strategic framework guiding Liberia agricultural development efforts. This plan functions as a roadmap to ensure effective coordinations among stakeholders and the efficient allocations to resources. According to Insights, the plan includes key components such as establishing priorities that identify certain crops and activities for government investment encompassing stable crops, livelihood, fishery, agro-processing. The plan emphasizes infrastructure development, encompassing initiatives like constructing roads for enhanced transportation of agricultural products, improving storage facilities. Additionally, the plan promotes investment in agricultural research and technology while also focusing on capacity building for farmers through training programs and extension workers. This equips stakeholders with the necessary skill for sustainable agriculture. If Insight further introduces Liberia Agricultural Transformation Agenda, a comprehensive strategy aimed at modernizing and transforming Liberia agriculture sector. This agenda focuses on diversification, technology adoption, sustainable land use, private sector management, and value addition. The aim is to address various challenges and drive positive changes in the agricultural landscape, thereby promoting food security, economic growth, and overall development. Now, we want to look at some of the local advantages for food security in Liberia. There are several advantages. Liberia still remains a promising ground for agricultural interventions, for agricultural productions in industry. If, for instance, they looking at Liberia landscape, the World Data Allies 2021 folks that Liberia possess 500,000 hectares of arable land in 2021. This marked an increase from 366,000 hectares in 1972 to 500,000 hectares in 2021, with a growth rate averaging at 0.38% annually. I think that's a plus. That state gave us Liberia the kinds of potentials to venture into the agricultural industry. Another area is biodiversity. Liberia boasts substantial portions of the Upper Guineas forest, a remarkable tropical forest ecosystem renowned for its abundance of endemic and rare species, noteworthy inhabitants such as Danomorgan, Capensis, uh, Palmio hippus, and a multitude of indigenous species all depend on this forest for their survival. Fauna and Flora International 2003. Supported policies environment is one of the advantages that Liberia has. Of course, despite of all of the challenges, Liberia is still developing policies. And one of the policies have been the Liberia Agriculture Southern Investment Plan, LIPSI, 2010, which emphasizes the importance of promoting agriculture for food security. So basically, these are the synopsis. When we talk about food security in Liberia, we need to look at several components. We need to look at policies and governance. We need to look at other issues like food access and affordability. We need to look at population dynamics and geographic factors. We need to look at the current initiatives and sources of food security. And lastly, talk about the local advantages to food security in Liberia. So there were several sources that were sought to come up with this argument, to come up with a backing for this argument. We have the Liberia Agriculture Southern Investment Program, for example. The reports also stated a couple of things concerning food security, the World Food Program, Liberia Country Strategic Plan of 2019 to 2023, agriculture and food security in Liberia. We talk about the right to adequate food, fact sheet number 34. We also talk about the Liberia Household Income Expenditure Survey conducted by the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Joint Information Services, the Liberia Arable Land, 5,000 hectares in 2001, and then the Fauna and Flora International. The Liberia fights globally important forest, reforest. So these are the basic sources that we sought. Thank you ever so much. This is the end of my presentation.